Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. I am so incredibly pumped to have all you focused learners with us today. We're going on a bit of a journey, a deep dive into the actual nuts and bolts of emotional storytelling. Today, we're tearing down a beautifully crafted microscript called The Weight of Kindness. And look, this isn't just a story. It's practically an architectural blueprint for building deep, genuine empathy in a really short amount of time. I literally cannot wait to unpack exactly how the author pulls this off, evoking such a massive emotional response using just a handful of sparse visuals, super carefully chosen words, and some highly specific audio cues. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. What does it actually take to make someone feel human again? It's a huge question, right? But this is the philosophical hook. It's the absolute core theme that this entire script is built around. Before we even look at a single piece of dialogue or stage direction, we really have to ground ourselves in this concept of human connection. And you know, the true genius of the material we're looking at today is that it doesn't try to solve some massive global crisis. No, instead, it answers this profound question through one incredibly small, hyper-focused interaction.
To see exactly how it does this, we're going to quickly walk through the script's four-scene chronological structure. Scene 1 is the busy road. Scene 2, the old man stops. Scene 3 is the emotional twist. And finally, Scene 4 brings us to the powerful ending.
All right, Scene 1, setting up the despair, the busy road.
Right away, the script just drops us into this incredibly somber tone. We're told to imagine sad piano music and really heavy rain. You've got this young delivery boy standing there, and his food packet has just fallen right onto the road. What we have here is a really stark contrast between physical reality and emotional reality. The physical reality is definitely harsh, right? You've got the freezing rain, the ruined delivery, the dropped food on the pavement. But the emotional reality, that's far more devastating. The script specifically notes that people are just walking past him, totally ignoring him. So the true conflict isn't actually the ruined food. It's the much deeper emotional brokenness of feeling completely invisible to the rest of society.
And this emotional reality is perfectly framed by the opening voiceover. The narrator says, "Sometimes a person returns home not with an empty stomach, but with a broken heart." Notice the deliberate, agonizingly sad pacing of those words, indicated by the ellipses in the script. It anchors us right in the boy's despair. It's literally telling the audience exactly how to feel. We aren't just watching a guy having a bad day at work. We're witnessing this crushing, heavy moment of total isolation.
Moving right along to Scene 2, a quiet act of humanity. The old man stops.
Now, what's really interesting about this part of the script is how the crowd's apathy is finally broken by just a single intervention. The script dictates these super specific physical actions. An old man quietly walks toward the boy, kneels down to collect the food, and gives the boy his own umbrella. These are vital visual cues. He doesn't just stand over the boy and offer a hand from above, he physically kneels. He brings himself down to the boy's level in the freezing rain. Kneeling down and sharing that umbrella, it visually and silently demonstrates this profound, active empathy. You don't even need dialogue here. The visuals do all the heavy lifting to show us that this man actually sees the boy.
And right on the heels of that powerful visual, the voiceover comes back to shift the whole narrative arc from isolation to hope. We hear, "But some people in the world still keep humanity alive." Imagine the vocal delivery of this line. After that heavy, sad opening, the tone naturally has to rise here, filling up with a sense of warmth and optimism. The script uses the voiceover to confirm what our eyes are seeing. This boy is no longer invisible.
That brings us to Scene 3, the emotional climax and the twist. The stage direction here is just beautifully minimalist. It simply says, "The boy starts crying softly." The camera focus sharply zooms in on his reaction. After this old man's intervention, the boy's tough, weather-beaten exterior just shatters. This brilliant simplicity in the visual direction clears away all the chaotic noise of the busy road. It completely sets the stage for the emotional weight of the very first piece of spoken dialogue in the entire piece.
Through his tears, the boy softly says, "Today, someone understood me as a human being for the first time." Wow. We really have to treat this raw line of dialogue with immense respect. This is, without a doubt, the absolute emotional crescendo of the entire script. Notice what he doesn't say. He doesn't thank the man for the umbrella or for picking up the ruined food. No, he thanks him for acknowledging his basic humanity. It ties back perfectly to that philosophical hook question we asked at the very beginning of this explainer.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer power of sound design. Right after the boy says that devastatingly vulnerable line, the script includes a crucial, specific instruction. The music pauses for 2 seconds. This is genius auditory direction. By cutting that sad piano entirely, the silence literally forces the audience to sit in the vacuum of that moment and truly absorb the gravity of the boy's words. It gives you, the viewer, time to process your own emotions before the story rushes forward.
And finally, Scene 4, the true meaning of empathy, a powerful ending.
The closing voiceover just beautifully expands the scope of the story. It says, if humans start understanding humans, then the world will automatically become beautiful. The script takes this highly specific, localized interaction between a delivery boy and an old man on a rainy street, and it zooms way out. It transforms this one moment into a universal truth for the viewer. It's really a call to action wrapped right up in a poetic observation. To really support this universal truth, we have to look at the invisible auditory painting that guided our emotions the whole time. The script relies on a slow, emotional piano to set that initial despair. Then, a soft violin rises exactly at the emotional twist to elevate the feeling of hope. And finally, right before the ending, a light heartbeat effect is introduced. This heartbeat effect, it is an absolute masterstroke. It deeply resonates with the audience on a physical level, subtly reminding us of the shared pulse of humanity we all possess.
As that heartbeat fades out, we are left with this core concluding thesis. Empathy costs nothing, but means everything. The old man didn't spend any money, did he? He just paused, knelt down, and shared what he had. It literally cost him nothing, but to a boy who felt totally invisible to the world, it meant absolutely everything.
So that brings us to the end of today's explainer. We've seen firsthand how visuals, dialogue, silence, and music can be precisely engineered to make us feel so deeply. But beyond the raw mechanics of the script, the core message remains. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought that really mirrors the story's theme. How will you keep humanity alive today? Whose dropped food, whether metaphorical or literal, can you help pick up? Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this wonderful story. Keep learning, keep analyzing, and I'll catch you next time.